Hello everyone. So this is Sarah and I'm back on the Speak of Mom Scraps channel. How fun is that? I'm going to create for you today an 8.5 by 11 layout. We're going to go with a grid design. This is going to be a page featuring my son, my oldest son, and his beagle. And we're going to make a shaker pocket. So I thought I'd come on here live very quickly and just show you some of the tools that I think are the very best for creating shaker pockets on your scrapbook layouts. One of the things I love is this product. This is from Queen & Company. They're called pop-ups. They come in a number of different designs. They're really, really easy to use. I like to buy just the plain squares, circles, rectangles, because when you have these nice easy shapes, you can easily make a cover for your shaker pocket. So you can use things like, we're going to use today these stitched square frames, which are from Close to My Heart. I also have a set of rectangles, stitched rectangles from Lawn Fawn, and some circle dies that are also from Close to My Heart. And Queen & Company, they also sell coordinating dies, but those dies make shaker pockets so easy. So in addition to creating our grid layout with our shaker pocket, I decided to add some cardstock that is a little bit different. This is from Altenew. It's one of their specialty papers, and it has like a cream wood grain, which I thought would work well with my photo and also provide a little bit of extra interest. And then I have just a little bit of papers and a couple embellishments I pulled together from an older Echo Park line, and that line is called Petticoats and Pinstripes. I have beautiful sequins, so I have 2 sequin mixes. This is Blue Blood Grin. This is a brand new mix for the month of September. And then I also have this mix, which is called Into the Woods, and I'm actually going to go ahead and kind of mix these two together and use them as the inside of my shakers. And then I also have a couple of these cute little beagle epoxy flares from Scrap and Happy Studio. So let's get started and create this layout. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on our layout. I'm going to start by going ahead and putting together each of the 4 quadrants of my grid. I want to start with that because I'm going to treat each of those 4 areas almost like their own scrapbook page, or kind of like maybe like a Project Life type of a card. So what I'm doing is I am going ahead and I'm cutting each of these base squares. So the gray one in the top left and the notes one in the bottom right, those are all 3 inches, and then my photo is 3 inches, and so is the square I'm going to create my shaker with. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut a mat for each of these. So each mat is going to be 3 1/4, and that's going to give me a nice, maybe it's 3 1/2. Yeah, I think it's 3 1/2 actually. I didn't go too crazy with the measuring, so knowing me, they're 3 inches and then 3 1/2. And I'm going to go ahead and mat each of these little areas. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and work on my shaker pocket first. So I'm going to die cut this square with the stitched square dies, and that's going to create the top of my shaker pocket. So really easy. I'll tell you what, I was a holdout for a manual die cutter. I didn't buy one, and it took a long time before I felt like I needed one. And now that I have it, I use it for so many things. Even though I have a silhouette, I actually find it a bit easier. And I love that it cuts like way more precision things. So I'm just popping out the different elements of my square here. That's the one I'm going to use. Now it is a little bit bigger. It's thinner. It's not bigger, it's thinner than my foam, but that's okay. I think in the end you don't really notice it at all. It's just white. And so I was totally fine with that it's not an exact match. So I know I want to use some of these Into the Woods sequins, and I want to use the blue ones, but I don't want to use the royal blue ones. I want to use, there's some blue ones in there that are a little more of a muted blue, and those are fine, and those mix really well with the my page and with the other elements I'm using, but there are these like huge giant blue ones in there. I don't want those. So I'm going to show you how to use an epoxy flare a little bit differently in this layout too, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one right in there as part of my shaker pocket. And now I'm just taking off the adhesive, and I'm going to add the acetate and the frame over the top. Okay, so I have my shaker pocket done, and I adhered the frame to the top of the shaker pocket with some Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. So I'm just leaving that kind of off to the side to let it start to set up a little bit. Now I am adding the rest of my squares, and I am using my T-square ruler because this is going to be a grid layout, and a grid layout in my book means it has to be straight. And most of the time things can be wonky, but on a grid layout things cannot be wonky. So I'm just going to go ahead and place all of the 4 little areas down using my T-square ruler to get everything straight. I'm going to say straight-ish. This is not an exact science, even with a T-square ruler. Okay, so next up, I know I want to add a little bit of decor, a little bit of embellishment to the bottom right of my photo. So I have this little die cut piece that has a dog on it that looks similar enough to a beagle that it will work. And then I have another one of these epoxy flares from Scrap and Happy Studio. And so I'm just going to add the 2 of those. And then I'm also going to add some staples, just to add a little bit something extra. There isn't a ton of embellishment on this layout. It's very simply embellished. I think when you have a shaker element on a page, you can get away with not having a ton of clusters or embellishments because that shaker element is pretty big. And I'm going to add some sequins now too. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to be able to, I want my layout to be, or I want my photo to not be competing so much with the shaker. Let's try that again. I don't want my shaker pocket to compete with my photo, so I want the bright blue elements right there on the corner of my photo because that will allow the photo to take prominence over the shaker pocket. Ugh, me and the words today, I tell you. Okay, so I'm just making sure I like that shaker pocket, and now I'm going to go ahead and do my journaling and put my date on my photo, or on my page. Next up, I want to go ahead and create something at the top and bottom of my layout. I feel like I need a little bit more color, and I want to be able to frame in the grid that I've created. So I'm taking my Tim Holtz Distress tool here, and I've cut a couple strips of the different patterns that I've used on other parts of my layout. And I'm going to create kind of 2 strips, and then I'm going to rough the edges, distress the edges, tear them a little bit, add some staples, you know, all the good stuff that makes a boy layout a boy layout. Not that it couldn't work for a girl layout either. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying, you know, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it goes with my photo. I don't want to offend anyone. Anyway, I am just going to go ahead now and trim up the edges. I'm going to work on the top here and tear those pieces and add the staples. And yeah, that's going to complete this layout for today. So pretty easy, but I really think the shaker element adds something cute, unique, a little bit different to a layout. I did add, you'll see here, yeah, I had a little bit of trouble with this frame getting it to really stick onto the acetate cover of the shaker pocket. In the end, what I needed to do was put some Nuvo adhesive on and then let the Nuvo adhesive dry and then added another layer on top of the Nuvo adhesive so that it was like 2 layers, and then it stuck good. So just so you know, lots of wet glue is needed to stick those down. So get yourself a really good wet glue. But that will complete this layout. I'd love to see you create a shaker pocket or shaker element on your page. I think that they're super fun. And even in an album, they add something. You know, it's not an element that you see a ton on layouts, so it adds a little something even when it is in your album, not shaking around too much. Remember, you can always use my code Sara15 to save 15% off of your order. And here are lots of fun close-ups. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will be seeing you back soon, later on this month, on the Spiegel Mom Scraps YouTube channel. Bye!